Hey guys, and welcome back to another Warlords of Draenor video. This time I'm going to be having a little bit of a talk about glyphs. Now, we've recently found out a whole bunch of new glyphs from the recent data mining session, and all in all, they're actually rather interesting. Now, because honestly it wouldn't be very interesting if I just sat here and said their names, there'll be slides in the background and there'll probably be a menu, so you can click around to your relevant class. But yeah, just in the meantime, I'm going to have a talk about my thoughts and just some things like that. So first of all, I think what interested me the most, and this is something that I really noticed greatly when I looked at the warrior, is, well, the warriors actually lost cleave, but they now have the glyph of cleave, which makes their heroic strike actually hit 2 targets. So I think that what's going to happen is that some classes which are perhaps a little bit worried about an ability that they've lost, or something that you could just see as being extremely core, I think this could definitely be quite the case for AoE or swipe abilities. But I think that a lot of things like that are going to be just worked back into glyphs, and this is a way that instead of just adding loads and loads and loads of new buttons, what they'll be able to do is augment your previous abilities to be just as interesting, hopefully, but with less buttons to click. And honestly, I think that is a pretty good way of doing the gameplay, especially from a user interface perspective. It would be kind of nice not having to have 50 trillion buttons. Still though, that's something that's happening for the warrior, and I could definitely see it happening for quite a few other classes. Overall, just having a skim through the glyphs, they all look interesting enough, but I don't really play some of those classes enough to truly understand the kind of depth of them all. It's kind of interesting, really. What they're doing in Warlords is they're giving a certain amount of glyphs, and they're just going to basically have those be automatically unlocked and learned as you level up. This means that glyphs are, in a way, kind of fulfilling a little bit of a talent-style role, in that they're going to be a reward you get every few levels as you level up, and then at the end they provide you with more options. Hopefully this should be a little bit of a, well, it is a subtle change to the glyph system, but hopefully it's one that will perhaps make it just a little bit more interesting and full of depth. Really, it's nice to see abilities being augmented, and if things are augmented well, then it could truly just turn into some really cool gameplay. Though, of course, that could not happen, and we obviously we need to wait, really, to play the game and play the alpha. This is just data mined stuff. We can't really say anything for sure, at all. Then another thing that's worth mentioning as well, this is from Twitter, I think it was from Celestalin, but any glyphs that affect the same ability are likely mutually exclusive. Now, this isn't the case all the time, but for an example, I think rogues are going to have 3 glyphs that pertain to evasion. You won't be able to use all 3, you'll just be able to use one of them. I think that's just a way of kind of reining in some outlying balance issues that might bring up. I'd imagine that if you're able to glyph some sort of signature spell or, you know, something important 3 times, that would be a little bit crazy. But anyway, yes, overall, that's just a little bit of a look at the glyphs. They're pretty interesting. I'll be doing class preview videos, and I'll talk more in depth about each class's specific glyphs when I do those, but just for here, I wanted to mention about the glyphs, you know, obviously tell you what they are, and just, you know, it's interesting, especially how they could add a little bit more depth and perhaps compensate in some cases for the abilities that are being removed in a way that doesn't add to button bloat. Anyway, do let me know what you think of all these changes. Of course, nothing is set in stone, so don't jump to conclusions, and with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.